Lakeside Healthcare in St Neots has 3 surgeries. One here is done in Belton. This I won't be talking about as I don't go there, and also it's fairly accessible actually. So we also have Eton Soken Health Centre, which is where the arrow is here. This is the first one I'll be talking about. This is located on the junction of Great North Road and St Neots Road. And then we have Cedar House Surgery, which is located there on the junction of Huntingdon Street and East Street. And this will be the second one I talk about. So as a patient and somebody who does drive, the first thing when you get to Eton Soken Health Centre is disabled parking. This is one of the spaces, a very odd space, not the right size, no hashed bays, and the second space is this one opposite the entrance. There's no hashed bays, it's a tiny bit wider than a normal space, and you can rarely get parked there, so that's a nightmare. This is the entrance down into the surgery. It's sloped, it's level, and you have this big, heavy glass and wooden door, which you have to get through first. Usually the second door, as it's shown here, is propped open, but if you do have to encounter that, that's a nightmare. And then you come in and you're met with this reception desk, which is not lowered, it's very high. They still have their plastic screens up, which means that you can't be heard or seen. The waiting area was refurbished during COVID lockdown, and although it's spacious, there's not really anywhere for a wheelchair user to park up, and you end up being in the way of everyone and just kind of plonked in the room. So I wanted to highlight here the disabled toilet. I was absolutely shocked and appalled. Yes, there is one, but look at this. I mean, so the lock doesn't work on the outside of the door. There is a handle, which means you can grab it, but unfortunately it opens inwards, which is completely, well, there's not a lot of room. Also, it's sprung loaded, so the door is very heavy, and if you lose your grip, then it just shuts very harshly. And then you can also see that there isn't a huge amount of space. There is enough to get my wheelchair, which is quite large. That's not the issue. The issue here is the way it's laid out and the facility. So there is no red emergency pull cord at all. And you can just about see the other side of the toilet roll dispenser. There is a box on the wall with a button on it saying press here for assistance. Now that, if you are on the toilet, that, you know, okay, but if you're on the floor, you have zero chance of reaching it. It's very high up, and I just can't believe that there is no emergency pull cord. The main problem with this disabled toilet is that they have a cubicle within the toilet, which means that the walls and the door of this just get in the way. It doesn't make any sense. It's not like there's any other facilities in there except for the sink, and really they just need to fix it by taking down this extra wall and door, putting in an emergency pull cord and changing the door, and that would be a huge help. But they have never responded to my requests to even look into it, so that says a lot. On my second visit, which was quite a few months after, they actually have put a red emergency pull cord in. Hurrah! That's it. On next thing, you have the same issue, large heavy glass door. I'm lucky enough that I can push this with my feet, but not everyone can. Now this is Cedar House. On approach, what is this? It's a missing doorbell. That has been missing for about 5 years at least. You have a very large heavy glass door, as you did with Eton Soken. This one is worse because it's sprung loaded as well. Usually the inside door is shut too, but on this occasion it wasn't, as you can see. It is very dated, both surgeries, especially this one, kind of 70s and 80s, nothing's changed. This is the reception desk, high up, again, no lowered desk. The waiting areas actually aren't as bad as Eton Soken, but again, very dated. You have got room to go around, but again, there aren't any dedicated wheelchair user spots. So this is the culprit in Cedar House, the disabled toilet. I could barely get my legs in here, and my power chair I couldn't leave outside because there's no room. There is an emergency pull cord, of course, as you can see here, but it's nowhere near the toilet, so what are you going to do if you fall that way? I don't know. There was no room to turn around at all, and the lighting was so dull and terrible. And look, it's filthy. It's just inadequate. It really is. It's not nice at all. If you've got sight impairments, well, good luck in there. And then obviously this is the toilet. Now there's no grab rail at the side. There's this one metal rail. The toilet seat was falling off. There is no raised seat. There's no back. There's no proper flush. Where does anything like this end? I mean, honestly, I was absolutely shocked. This is me having to reverse out. As you can see, it's tight. The sink as well isn't appropriate for a disabled toilet. None of it is. It's just the flooring is dark, which it shouldn't be. And I was just absolutely gobsmacked and shocked. And yeah, what happens? Like, people need to go in there to use the toilet, but also if you're asked to do a urine sample or something like that, I actually could not do that myself in there because there was not the facilities or room. Now on to the shocking part of this. So on Lakeside St Neots website, you go onto accessibility. Now this is all they have for the entire 3 doctor surgeries. Now pause it if you would like to read all of this, but I shall highlight to you what it says about the 2 surgeries that I've just been to. So, Cedar House, it says there is disabled access for patients via the ramp at the front of these premises. Now I'm not sure which ramp that is referring to, because as you saw, there is no ramp, it's all level access. So maybe they've just got the wording wrong. Then it says please ring the doorbell, which is placed at wheelchair height at the front of the surgery. Now, I don't want to be pernickety, but wheelchair height, it could nicely say wheelchair user height, but we'll overlook that. But please ring the doorbell. Now this has been on this website for a while. It's been updated recently. Did they not realise that the doorbell has not been there? I actually looked on Google Street View and I went back at least 5 years and there was no doorbell. So not sure if they're checking that at all. Yeah, it's just not great. Then we look at, because we know there's no parking, so there's no point going over that. Eton Soken. So it says here that all clinical services in our building are offered on the ground floor with easy access to rooms. Now, that's true. And it says there are parking spaces outside the surgery which are reserved for patients identified by a disabled sign. Now, you know, it's not obviously policed or anything like that, but as we know from what I've shown you, the parking spaces aren't fit for purpose. And also it doesn't mention that there is no easy access. The doors are obviously heavy. It says we have disabled toilet facilities. True. And there is a wheelchair available for use in surgery. That is also true. But this is literally all it has. It doesn't give you anything. If they were to use something like Access Able or do their own kind of information, there's nothing to say how far the car park is to the doctor's surgery entrance. It doesn't mention about the pharmacy. It doesn't say the height of the reception desk. It doesn't give you any information whatsoever, which is horrendous. As this is about the access in the actual places, I'm not going to go into the website, but the website itself actually has a very thorough access statement and also says it's updated regularly. It's got the contrasting colours, it uses software, it's all very good and modern, but they're digitally excluding people who aren't using the website. People who are physically going to the doctor's surgery in person, you don't have this kind of great accessibility statements or anything. And it's a joke that it says here that they are looking to improve the accessibility of the website, but not, you know, in person. And it says if you have any problems, then contact the practice manager. Now, I have contacted the practice manager twice at length, in lengthy emails detailing all of this and how I could help, how they could improve things. It's one of the priorities for Healthwatch Cambridgeshire this year. I've been met with saying that I need to find out who the building owners are because they're responsible for the disabled access apparently. Then I'm told that's private. It's insane. Something like the NHS, your basic services should be accessible. I was fortunate enough to be referred to Little Paxton surgery once, to a clinic there. And they have automatic doors, they have push button to open, they have a really good disabled toilet. When I asked them how they got that, they said one of their GPs actually ran the London Marathon and had to fundraise to get that themselves. Now, I know the NHS is on its knees, but really? You are asking your GPs to fundraise and pay for these facilities? I'm just lost for words. I'd love to hear if any of you have had similar problems, whether you've reported them or not, what you think of this. This should not be happening, and this is a mission this year for me to try and get them to listen. I am quite involved with this practice, not just as a patient, but also with the volunteering I do, and they just don't want to change and listen. So if there's anything you can do to help, let me know and I'll keep you updated.